add me to the stage. Okay. Let's I thought I knew what I was doing. Let's see. All right, okay, there we go. There we go. So I'm in the top corner where I want to be. All right. So Memphis actually scores, they actually outscores New York 39-26 in the fourth quarter to keep us under. This absolutely had a chance. But you give up 39 points. I didn't like it as much when Jericho Sims got rolled out with an illness, of course. You need somebody to be able to rebound the ball, box out, that type of thing. But I still kind of liked it. Either way, it doesn't cash. It's cool. We did get it back in the Houston the Indy game. Took them live at the end of the third quarter, under 230, under 260, 8.5. That game was flying over the total, and figured it would kind of slow down, and it did. So on the season, you guys see the record, you see the numbers. I always try to be transparent and honest with you guys when it comes to just kind of looking at the games and where I stand. So let's jump into it for today, man. Like I said, I do got some spots that I really like. So let's jump into it for the first game. We got Raptors. They will be the Toronto Raptors will be in Charlotte tomorrow, and this line was actually at 5.5. Moved to 6. It's not a game. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. It's not a game I'm super interested in. I'm not betting this game, but I do think. You know what? I'm not betting the game. I'll tell you guys that Toronto not in the greatest spot, man. This team is actually. Let me get to my notes real quick. Toronto is not in the greatest spot. This is the sixth game of a 6-game road trip for them. Third game in 4 nights. Fourth game in 6 nights for them as well. They've actually lost 8 of their last 9 games, and now you see them laying 6.5 points on the road. This line did move up a point when LaMelo Ball did get rolled out earlier. Toronto's they're not it right now, man. I don't like the spot for them. Charlotte, you can't like any spot for Charlotte, how bad this team is. 1-9 straight up, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. They're only 9-16 against the spread at home. They did, compete with the Lakers late. I think crazy enough, I do think that they could potentially be able to cover this game, man. I kind of do. Toronto needs a big win, but they just don't. To me, they just don't have it. I think everybody is going to be in for them in this game, though. They should get everybody back, have a full roster. They're the fourth worst defensive rated team in the last 5 games. And this, like I said, not the greatest spot. 6-game of a 6-game road trip. First time Toronto has actually been a road favorite since December the 30th. So first time of the year, and they actually lost that game. That was the game that Detroit won to break their longest losing streak in NBA history. So Toronto can't be trusted as a favorite, of course. They're not, as a road favorite anyway. And last time they were a home favorite, they also got smoked in that spot as well. So I can't back Charlotte. Like I said, 8 straight losses in a row. Toronto is 7-3 straight up and against the spread in the last 10 meetings between the two teams. So I guess I kind of lean towards the under a little bit. I think with Charlotte coming off, as many games they were competitive in that last game against the Lakers, and they ended up covering that game as well. So you could kind of say that they're kind of putting it together without LaMelo Ball. No Terry Rozier, but it's not anything I'm using my hard-earned money for. And on the Toronto side, like I said, this team is only 2-8 in their last 10 games, 4-6 against the Spurs. So now you expect them to win by margin. Fourth game in 6 nights. I can't get there with this game at all. So not a game that I'm going to be betting, but I wanted to kind of let you guys know I was looking at it. Like I said, I lean towards the under a little bit because Charlotte, while they do get smoked sometimes, eventually they're going, win a game. And when they do, I think it'll be because they do play a little bit more defense, and Toronto plays at a little slower pace. Charlotte also just bad offensively. We know that they can struggle to score the ball. So I do lean towards the under 224.5. It did drop from 225.5 when LaMelo Ball was rolled in. Next game up, we got the Cavs and the Wizards. This is a game that I'm interested in. So looking at this Cleveland game, I'll tell you guys exactly what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Cleveland the Washington Wizards team total under 112.5. The number is available right now on DraftKings. I haven't played it yet, but under 112.5, the number is available on DraftKings. You got a Wizards team that absolutely, is abysmal at home. They're 3-21 straight up, 17-7 against the spread at home, 4-6 in their last 10 games. This team does not look good. We know the Cavs on the opposite side. They've been one of the best teams in basketball. Them and the Clippers, best teams in basketball as of late. 9-1 straight up, 7-3 against the spread. Not the greatest travel spot because they have been kind of, all over the place recently. Cavs went home for that one game against Sacramento. Did get the cover for us the other day, minus the 5.5. But before that, they had 2 straight road games. For that, they had 2 straight home games. Then they had 4 games on the road. So not the greatest spot. It is also the first leg of a back-to-back they played in Brooklyn. But however I can fade Washington, I'm absolutely down for it. The spread's already moving. So if you want Cleveland, you want to jump on them early. The Wizards, going back to this team total, the Wizards specifically themselves, 12-5 to the under since January 1st. So since the new year started, they're 12-5. That's super profitable to the under. They're under their team total in 14 of their last 17 games, including 8 straight. So 8 straight times they failed to, hit their team total under. We actually just cast on it against the Phoenix Suns team that, is much worse defensively than this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Their team total, the Wizards, has also not cashed. They stay under in 10 of their last 11 games as well. Last 10 games, the 27-minute offensive rating at just 108.4. Cleveland, second best in defensive rating at 106.3. They held the Spurs and the Hawks under this team total in very similar, situations as far as, fast-paced teams this season. The Cavs have only allowed 113 points just 4 times in their last 16 games, and they're allowing just 104 points per game in those 16 games. So I know Kyle Kuzma's off the injury report, but Marvin Bagley is still he's going to be out in this game. And his ability to rebound the basketball, I think, is going not his ability to not be able to rebound the basketball, I think, is going to show up in this game. So I do. I know it's going to be an official play. I just haven't taken it yet. But give me the Washington Wizards team total under 112.5. Maybe the Cavs even come out here play at a even slower pace, just because they'll be, like I said, on the first leg of a back-to-back and probably want to save something for the Brooklyn Nets. So that's how I'm playing this game. Staying away from the spread. Cavs can win this game by 15 points, 20 points if they want to. They've owned this Washington Wizards team. Beat them. I think they beat them twice already in the head-to-head matchup this season. Yeah, smoked them 140 to 101 in Cleveland, and then beat them 114 to 90 in that back-to-back earlier this season. Laying 9 and laying 10. Now you got them laying 10 again. And just real quick, let me just check. Yeah, nobody on the injury report for the Cavs. So yeah, they should get the job done. I like that Wizards team total under in this one. Probably my favorite play of the day. But let's keep going. We got a couple more games. A couple of these games I don't really feel too strongly on. And this is one of them. The Golden State Warriors and the Philadelphia 76ers. So this is I'm looking at the Golden State spot for them. And Golden State is a fade. Not tomorrow, but they're a fade. Tomorrow's what? Wednesday. They're a fade on Thursday. So this will be the first leg of a back-to-back for the Golden State Warriors. They actually got to play in Indy. That'll be, I want to say, the 5th game in 7 nights for them. And I do think that they get smoked in Indy. I'm not sure what to do with this game specifically, though. The Golden State Warriors are not the greatest road team, especially when they're laying points. Now, getting points, 13-8. They did just come off a win against the Brooklyn Nets the other day. Shout out to Steve Kerr, man. Makeshift rosters. He got Clay on the bench because he can't make a shot, late. Jonathan Kuminga has turned back the hands of time. But I think eventually Philly's going to get a win. I know that they're going to struggle without Joel Embiid, and they'll be without him for, some time here now. And I don't like them without Nicholas Batum, because Batum is also, they're down more than just Joel Embiid. It's Nicholas Batum, it's Robert Covington who remains out, DeAnthony Milton. So I don't like the spot for I'm not going to keep fading Philly, because eventually they will get a win. Maxey will play a lot better. And maybe you just look at Maxey points prop in this game. These two teams just played. That was the game that Joel Embiid actually went down when he fell over Jonathan Kuminga. That game finished 119-107. Golden State was laying 2, won that game by 12. That game went under the 233, and now you see this total actually open higher at 237. That to me, that's kind of, as far as trend wise goes, I did look into that. I wanted to see how teams do when they play each other within a 2-week period. And even though the last total went under, the new total opens a little bit higher. This season, 14-8 to the over. I think that's about 63-64%. So maybe you just, Golden State's not a great defensive team. Philly also not the greatest offensive team. They struggle to score because Joel Embiid does so much foul baiting and gets to the free throw line. Without Joel Embiid, they don't get those easy baskets. So I don't like it from that perspective. The over from that perspective, because I do think that Philly can struggle to score. Golden State, their defense is not great. I mean, they slowed down Brooklyn, but I mean, everybody's doing that. Dallas was able to slow down Brooklyn today. So I'm not sure what to do with the game. Like I said, I do want to fade Golden State on the, in their next game. This is the 4th straight road game, but when they play on what is that? Now on Thursday, that'll be the 5th straight and final road game. That's when I want to fade them versus Indiana. For Philly, 3rd game back home. They also got another game against Atlanta, but they don't play until Friday. So I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't really want to get involved with this one, but I guess I lean towards the over. Just not one to get too involved in this one. So I don't have a strong play on this one. Probably won't play it, but we'll do a little bit more deep diving into this one a little later. Let's keep going. We got Spurs and we got Heat, and this is a game that I am interested in as well. So looking at the San Antonio Spurs, this is an interesting situation because San Antonio is actually coming to this game off 3 days rest versus a Miami team that is playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. Miami absolutely smoked the Orlando Magic. Glad I didn't get involved there because I did like Orlando plus 3.5. Line looked a little fishy, and I'm glad I stayed off. They beat the brakes off Orlando tonight, 121-95. Going back to the game against the Clippers, they lost that game, but they only gave up 103 points in that spot. Against Washington, only 102 points in that spot. So even though tonight's game went over, it was because their offense actually came to play, not necessarily their defense. Now, can they cover this game by 8 points? Absolutely. And I may even put a little – I don't like laying points for Miami, though. That's something I don't like to do. It's not at home. They're 9-16 against the spread, at home. And as a home favorite, I know it's even worse. But since they've had that players only meeting, what we've seen is, top 3 defense over the last – since the players meeting, they've been a top 3 defense in the league. San Antonio, not the greatest offense. So I think you guys know where I'm going. San Antonio team total under. This total is 223.5. Means San Antonio team total is 108.5. It was minus 120 on ESPN bet. I haven't placed it yet, but that's the way I'm looking in this game. Miami hasn't given up. Like I just said, they haven't given up more than 102 points since that team meeting. They've held 4 straight opponents under that team total. And you just kind of look at the pace, right? Miami they're not the greatest offensive team. I looked at them on no days rest. They're only the 29th offensive rated team. And you got San Antonio, actually 7th rated defensive team over the last 6 games. Miami also 19th in defensive rating when they playing unrested. And then, looking at San Antonio on the opposite side, they contribute to the under as well. 6 straight unders for them. Their last 6 games, they're the 27th rated offense. So this is not a good offensive team right now. And we know Miami hangs their hat on the defensive end, and they're also playing at the 6th lowest pace. So I like San Antonio team total under 108.5 in this spot as well. Like I said, they're actually playing a little bit better defense. Offense is struggling at 27th. They're also rebounding the ball pretty well, 2nd in rebound percentage as well. So I do think that over the last 6 games, I would say, we'll probably get there with San Antonio team total under 108.5. I think this could be a real grinded out type of game for the Miami Heat. I don't expect their offense to go too bonkers on the second leg of a back-to-back. Also, 3rd game of 4 nights for them as well. So in this one, I like San Antonio team total under 108.5. Let's keep going. Next game up, we got Hawks and we got Celtics. This game will be played in Boston. We got Celtics laying 11.5. Big favorites as typically they always are, specifically when they are at TD Garden. But I didn't think this was going to open at 11.5. I'll be honest with you guys. I thought it was going to open at like 9.5, maybe even 9. Injury-wise, I think it's important to make sure we keep in mind that Capella is going to continue to be out. He's already been ruled out for this game. DeAndre Hunter, I think, missed the last game, but he is going to play in this one and listed as probable. And for Boston, you got Jaylen Brown, who is probable. He missed their last game against Memphis. And Drew Holiday actually popped up on the injury report, listed as questionable in this one with an elbow injury. And I do think that, granted, do they need him to cover the spread? Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, I know he's a really good defender, and he could, potentially slow down either DeJounte Murray or Trae Young. But I'm not sure this one really matters, man. I looked at a couple craze, and let me just talk to you guys about the situational spot. So Atlanta, 4th game in 6 nights. In the first game after 6 straight home games. So first road game after 6 straight home games. Now, on the opposite of Boston, Boston's actually playing on that 6th consecutive home game. One of the things I looked at, like, typically, and shout out to my guy, Jay Money. I was listening to a show maybe 2 years ago, and I heard him start talking about this. He said, you fade the team that's coming off the long homestand in their first game on the road. So what I looked at was specifically, how do double-digit dogs do coming off a 6-game homestand? So you're a double-digit road dog coming off 6 straight games at your house. Those teams are actually losing the first quarter by 6. They're losing the first half by 9. And that's dating all the way back to 1997. Losing the first half by 12, if we just go back to 2018 and look at more modern basketball as well. We know Boston, if you want to play Boston, you typically want to stay away. They're one of the worst third quarter teams. So you typically want to stay away from the full game spread. I like Boston here in the first half. I do. I looked some more numbers that kind of back it up. Atlanta in the first quarter against the spread this season, and 9-15 against the spread in road first quarters. You got Boston at 15-11 in the first quarter at home against the spread. And then first half of for Atlanta, they're 13-11. So they have been profitable in the first half on the road. But Boston, second best. We know that they're the second best. Well, they were first. Second best ATS team in the first half at home. 17-8-1 is Boston. So I think the number probably going to be 6. I didn't even look at and see what the number was on this one. But I like Boston early. This also beat the second matchup of the season. Boston actually beat Atlanta. I know Atlanta's been playing a lot better recently, so I'm not going to discredit them. I just think that this is a Boston spot. Atlanta did beat Boston. Boston did beat Atlanta 113-103 back in November, and they actually won. Boston won the first quarter 33-26 back then, and they were up at halftime 69-53. I'm not sure how much Drew Holiday means to this one. I think without Clint Capella, Atlanta could potentially struggle to rebound the basketball. Boston's actually been struggling to rebound the basketball as well, but I think, just looking at Boston, they keep giving up at least 125 points. And, they're going to have their hands full tomorrow as well. Also, big fatigue spot outside of them playing their first game first game of after 6 straight home games. So I like Boston in the first half in this spot here as well. Let's keep going. We got a couple more games to get to. I do have a couple more looks, and actually in both of these games. So let's go to Pelicans and Clippers. This is one I actually wanted to jump on earlier. I thought this line was going to actually come down to 5.5 because I saw it at 6, and now it's actually 6.5. And it's for a good reason, because Zion, for whatever reason, is listed as questionable with his little ankle injury. That does mean a lot. So we know teams coming off a road trip like the Clippers are, they're not in the greatest spot. They have been balling. It's really difficult to fade this team. 9-1 straight up, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games, 19-4 straight up at home, and 34-15. I mean, the Clippers look like they're going to the Western Conference Finals right now. But this is not the greatest spot for the Clippers. The same way you would want to fade a team coming back home off a road trip. You take the names out the back of the jerseys. It's not a great spot for the Clippers here. The Pelicans also got some revenge here. The Pelicans they absolutely got smoked in that last game when these two teams played against each other. So Clippers are also traveling 3 time zones. We know that they, just got a big win in Atlanta. Just, what was that, last night? Yeah, that was last night to end that 7-game road trip. And they played really, really well. I want to say they went 6-1 on that road trip. I can't even remember who they lost to, but I know they lost 1 game on that road trip, but they did not lose outside of that. You got New Orleans, like I said, in the revenge spot. They did lose that first game, and they while both of these teams have the same amount of rest, the Pelicans are only traveling from New Orleans. The Clippers traveling all the way from Atlanta, so traveling 3 time zone, not the greatest spot first and foremost. But then you got the Clippers, first game back home after 7-game road trip. So I looked into this. I was interested. Teams that are coming home off 5 games, so home favorites specifically, after a 7-game road trip, laying at least 5 points. So we got a spread of 6.5. 23-43 throughout the Killer Sports database, and that goes back all the way to 1997, I want to say. So that's home favorites laying 5 points or more off a 7-game road trip. 65.2% says that you fade them. And this actually doesn't go back that far. This actually goes back to 2019. So more recent numbers. I kind of feel like you do need Zion. I do want Zion in there because he plays bully ball. And we know that the Clippers, up until they won the most recent matchup, they really struggled with this Pelicans team. Pelicans kind of owned them for a while. So I like the major, fatigue spot here in the revenge spot. Clippers also played a rack of games in the same day. I want to say 8 different cities in 13 different days. I want to say it was. Also, you just look at the fatigue spot. I said major fatigue spot, but you think about the Clippers. Their starters played back-to-back really close games down to the wire versus the Miami Heat and then against the Atlanta Clippers. So this will be a third game in 4 nights for them as well. All of their starters played big minutes to get both of those wins. They were really trying to go out there and win the games. 4th game in 6 nights. I said 3rd and 4th, but also 4th and 6th. And you got the Pelicans coming off a 38-point win with no starter playing more than 29 minutes. Brandon Ingram played like almost 30 minutes, but they were resting their starters in the 4th quarter. It was Jose Alvarado out there getting steals and layups and stuff. So yeah, like I said, I want Zion in, but even if Zion's not in, maybe money, public money comes in on the Clippers here. I do want to take the Pelicans as a dog in this spot, man. I also lean towards the under. Clippers, I think eventually they're gonna run out of gas. The Pelicans can play really good defense. And I think that they should be motivated defensively, especially off the way that they lost their last game. And last 10 meetings between these two teams are 7-3 to the under as well. So we typically see, even if the game starts off fast, it typically slows down. But yeah, going back to January 5th, so a little over a month ago, New Orleans they were at home hosting that game as 1-point favorites, and Clippers came in there and really just beat the brakes off of them. We know Zion actually got hurt in that game, but they were already winning. I want to say by 17 points before Zion got hurt. It was the 2nd quarter where the Clippers turned up defensively, only gave up 15 points, scored 30 points, had a 15-point lead at halftime, and never looked back. At the end of the 3rd quarter, they were up, 26, and the game was over with after that. So Pelicans having some revenge in this game. I do think that they're the right side. Like I said, I do want Zion in though. I think you do need Zion in. To me, he's an X factor. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that game. Heavily lean. Like I said, I haven't played anything, but that's one of I think the top spots on the board for tomorrow. Got to fade these teams off the 7-game road trip, 4th game in 6 nights, 3rd and 4th, all those different things if you know anything about situational betting. Next game up and last game on the board, another dog. I think the dog's gonna be barking about, man. I like the Pistons in this spot. Haven't bet this one, and this is one that I'll wait on as well, just because you do got some injury news in this game. You got Cade listed as questionable, which we've seen Detroit actually play well without Cade. And you got Bojan Bogdanovic also listed as questionable with a calf injury. So for Cade, it's a knee. For Bogdanovic, it's a calf. Nobody, Vicinco on the injury report for Sacramento. Sacramento coming back home. Another team coming back home off the long road trip. They, went 5-2 on that 7-game road trip for them before, getting smoked by Cleveland by 26. And they'll also be in a pretty bad travel spot. This will be the 4th game for them. I want to say in 6 nights as well. So you got a Detroit team that has one more day of rest. They'll be both teams traveling from the East Coast, but also Sacramento traveling 3 different time zones. So not the greatest spot for them here either. And you're laying a big number. I always, we actually backed Sacramento a couple times on this road trip, and they made us some money. I know we bet them against Dallas, because that was the game that Luka had just scored 70 the night before in Atlanta. We cashed with them there. Also bet them against Indiana in the bounce back after they lost to Miami. So we made some money. But my point in saying that is you want to, in my estimation, you want to back the Sacramento Kings on the road. I think they're the 2nd most profitable road team this season. I'm not into laying big numbers. They've not done well covering these big spreads at home. Just 10-12 against the spread as at home this season. Just 14-8 overall. Detroit 11-11 against the spread on the road, and if you factor in the double-digit dogs, probably gets a little better. Sacramento doesn't have too much of an advantage in this game outside of just the home crowd, because situationally they've both been on the East Coast for a very long time. This will be Detroit's first game on the East Coast in quite a while. And like I said, it's not that huge of a detriment because Sacramento also been on the East Coast. So I like Detroit. I think 12.5 is far too many points. Would love to have Bogdanovic ruled in. But this is a spot where hopefully money comes in on Sacramento. I hope it, because I saw it at 11.5 and it's already up to 12.5. I hope it gets pushed to 13.5. I do like Detroit to be able to keep this one close. I don't think Sacramento is going to come out here and want to absolutely smoke the Detroit Pistons. And Detroit's playing really good basketball. They've only won 3 of their last 7, but they've covered 8 of their last 10. I'm sorry, they only won 3 of their last 10 straight up, but they've covered 8 of their last 10. So yeah, I know Sacramento's playing really good basketball right now. But I'm cool with fading them. I think 13 points is too many. So I like Detroit. I like Detroit a lot in this game. Is there anything else that I wanted to mention? So going back, just kind of looking at everything I said in totality. At the bottom, you guys can see all the plays that I do like for tomorrow. I haven't put all transparency. I haven't placed one single bet yet, but these will be my top looks for tomorrow, and I'm probably gonna put a little sprinkle at least on 3 of them. I can't see myself not playing any of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it looked like 5-0 to me. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. But Washington team total under 112.5. I know I will be playing that. Boston first half. I'm probably gonna get there. Would love to have Drew Holiday in, but I don't think it really matters. Wanting to fade, Atlanta off their 6-game homestand. And San Antonio team total under 108 with Miami's defense. New Orleans is the right side plus the 6.5. But what love to have Zion in that spot. And if he was in, I would have pulled the trigger already. Especially in the revenge spot. In Detroit, plus the 12.5, man. I would love to have Cade in. I would love to have Bogdanovich in. But either way, I think that game goes under. I think the game goes under because, typically it's a flat spot coming back home. As you see what's going on in Phoenix right now. That's a big flat spot. And also, so lean under in that Sacramento-Detroit game, under 243.5, but probably won't get there on the total, but I do like Detroit plus the points tomorrow. So that's the show. I appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. If you are, still watching, do me a favor and hit the like button. Hit the like button for me. Share the show. Best of luck on all your action. Enjoy the games. And as always, man, bet responsibly. Like I said, I'll continue to try to do these live shows because they are pretty fun to get ahead of the line. I used to do this a lot of the time, but I kind of stopped, man. Let me go through the comments real quick and see what y'all talking. What's up to my guys, man? I feel weird not doing the evening show. Rob Maddock, David, S. Dot. What up, Coop? Who they? Brian says Heat trifecta, S. Dot. Livestone, Freemon's, S. Dot. Will RZA, Hobby Noble. What's up, man? To the chat. Prolific. What's up, my brother? How you doing, man? What's up, Sean? Saint Hawk says, what database? Killer Sports database. I need to create a slot, another little graphic for where I get all my resources from. I actually had it. I don't know what happened to it. But killersports.com is where I look for all my SDQL, my sports data query language parameters to, kind of find them back or even fade these teams in these spots, man. So yeah, like I said, hit the like button for me if you guys can. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and best of luck on all your action, man. Y'all boys and girls have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow to do another live show, ChrisBeCappinn NBA show at 5 p.m. We'll be back on Friday, most likely, man. Appreciate y'all as always. Best of luck on your action for tomorrow.